Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Comrade Andrew Okafor. Welcome you to Unity FM. Here we discuss legal issues that are pertaining as far as the society is concerned. Before us, we have a legal luminary, a legal practitioner, a future SCN, who is well loaded with law, and he will be giving us some knowledge and dishing out some information so that we'll be properly guided when dealing with property transactions. Sir,
Yes.
some of our listeners, they don't know you, but you have been gracing our occasions, sharing with us some insightful information as far as the law is concerned. So, for the benefit of those listeners who are hearing this information for the first time,
Yes.
can you just kindly introduce yourself?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, and our dear listeners at home, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Igwe Friday, a lawyer by the grace of God.
Okay, as you all heard, he's a legal practitioner and he will be giving us some legal information. Sir,
Yes.
I have some disturbing issues which have been giving me some concern. A couple of days ago, I saw something disturbing on Facebook.
Okay.
There was a woman weeping seriously. What caused the tears? She was crying over a property she lost to someone who was erecting a building on a piece of land. According to the video, she bought the property 50 million naira,
50 million.
and only for her to wake up the next day and saw that somebody was erecting a building on the land. So, sir, I believe the woman was illiterate as far as the law is concerned. That was why all this thing arose. And as a legal practitioner, I believe you will have more information that would have necessitated the loss this woman suffered. So, sir, please, can you just tell us what would have caused this huge loss?
Okay. Firstly, I want to sympathize with the very woman, with the said woman, which is not easy, I must say, for somebody to have used that kind of whooping sum to get a property only for the lady to wake up one day and discover that the property was has been trespassed, like somebody was already encroaching on the land. Now, I was not there and I did not watch the video. I was not there to have ascertained the cause, what led to the loss, like I said. But I will be highlighting some of the factors that could lead to what happened to the lady. And that is why we always advise that whatever you do as a person in life, as long as you live, there are people that you must not joke with in life. And these people are your doctor, your lawyer, and your God. You are not supposed to joke with these people. Now, people do not understand the role of lawyers in a society. They feel because you can just do something and maybe... So now, what could have happened to that woman? It is good, that as a person, before you engage or you start any transaction, from the point where you conceive that you want to enter into that transaction, you are supposed to involve your lawyer. A lawyer will be able to advise you on the implication of the contract you want to enter into. So when you want to buy any property, when you want to purchase any property or enter into any transaction at all, you consult your lawyer. Your lawyer should be able to advise you. Now, it's possible that the woman bought that property from someone who has no title to transfer interest in that property. And it is also possible that the woman bought the land from a place or from someone who maybe has title to sell, but the person had previously sold the land to another person. Okay, even though at that point, if the person has previously sold the land to another person, at that point, he had no title again to sell the property. But the point we are making is that if a lawyer was involved ab initio from the beginning of the transaction, the lawyer will do a due diligence to find out whether the person who wants to sell that property is actually the owner, whether the person has ownership rights. If the person does not have ownership rights, the lawyer will be able to advise his client so that this loss of, as in money, will be avoided. So, apart from the fact that the person may not have a title to have transferred the property, it's possible that the property had previously used as a security to obtain loan, thereby making it very, very difficult or impossible for such person to transfer ownership interest to another person. So, what are we saying? Before you buy any property, involve a lawyer. A lawyer should be able to investigate the title of the person who wants to sell, whether the person has right to sell, one, whether there is any other interest, whether there is encumbrances on the land. If there is another interest higher than the interest, the existing interest, or the interest that is about to be created, of course, your lawyer should be able to advise you not to continue or go ahead with such a transaction. So, like I said again, we sympathize with the woman, but people should learn from the woman's experience.
Wow. As you all heard, we should all learn from this sad experience. Sir,
Yes.
during your explanation, you made reference that land can be used as security for obtaining loan.
Yes.
And if someone purchases the land, the person is doing that to his or her own detriment. What if, for instance, somebody used land as security in obtaining loan,
Yes.
and the loan, he have already offset the loan?
Yes.
In this kind of circumstances,
Yes.
what is your advice? Can someone still purchase that particular piece of land after the person has offset the loan?
Okay, of course, if you use your property as a security for loan, and the loan has been repaid, the property is no longer, like, there's no longer interest because you repaid the loan. And do not forget that when you obtain a loan from bank or other financial institution, there's always a principal sum and the interest sum. So the question is that is it the principal sum that has been paid or the interest sum, or both? Now, if it is both, it means the mortgage transaction has been discharged. So you can no longer say that the property is like someone has interest in that, because the said loan has been repaid. So once the loan has been repaid, of course, you can go ahead. The person having the property can now sell it. So there's nothing stopping you from buying such property, and that's why. And the only way you know when we go to this thing is when you involve a lawyer. A lawyer should be able to do a proper search to know whether, truly, such loan has been repaid, whether the mortgage stuff has been discharged. So that is the point. So you can go ahead and buy such property if your lawyer said you should go ahead, and if the loan has been repaid, like I stated earlier.
Wow, thank you very much for that beautiful explanation. Sir,
yes.
In the rural setting where majority of the people are illiterate,
Yes.
you know that people buy land here and there in the villages.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm asking this question is that majority of our listeners, they are ignorant as far as the law is concerned.
Okay.
So we want you to throw more light. If someone is buying land in the village setting,
yes,
is it also important for the person to involve a lawyer, or the person can just go ahead and buy the land, since majority of the land there are being inherited from the deceased person?
Okay. I want you to know that by the provision of the Land Use Act, every land in a state is being held in trust by the governor of his state for the benefit of the people in that state. Now, it therefore means that you cannot transfer ownership in land without the consent of the governor. Now, whether you are buying land in a rural area or urban area, you need at all time you need to involve a lawyer. Now, let us look at the story or the scenario you just presented. If you are buying a property in the village, for instance, now what we lawyers do is to investigate the person that want to sell, whether he has title. Now, if there is any place where problem always always come up, is even in the village, because you see most of the landed property in the village belong to either community or family. And if as a person who wants to transfer interest in land to another person, you do not have the right to do so, of course it could lead to what happened to the woman that you painted her story. Now, if a land belongs to the family of let me use the word a family of Eze, and that Eze during his lifetime had three wives, and each of the wives has a son. Now that land belongs to the entire family. So one person, especially when you are not a head of the family, cannot sell that land to any other person. If you do, it will amount to you lacking power to transfer such interest, because you don't have title in the first place. So if such property must be sold, it must be with the consent or with the agreement of the principal member of the family and every other member. Or if it is a community land, the community head must consent to such transaction. So if you are not a community head and you don't have such power to sell the land, of course the such sale will be void. So that is just the point. So it does not matter where you are buying the land. What is important is the person selling the land, does it have the title to transfer such interest?
Wow, thank you very much for that beautiful explanation.
You're welcome.
So, sir, regarding purchasing of land,
Yes.
it can be very, very difficult and hazardous.
Yes.
When someone wants to purchase land, you go here, they say register your document, go here and do
Yes.
all of that.
Yeah.
Since you are a legal practitioner, what can somebody do to free him or herself from encumbrances whenever he buys a land?
So you're already speaking like a lawyer, Cobra. All right, okay. If you listen to my earlier statement, I did mention that it's always good to involve a lawyer with whatever you are doing. Now, if you want to buy a property, if you are listening to me right now and you want to buy a property, the first thing you do is please involve a lawyer. What is the role of a lawyer when you want to buy a property? The lawyer will investigate the property. The lawyer will not have to investigate only the title of the person trying to sell the property. The person will also investigate whether where the property is a government approved area, whether it is a place where government has approved for someone to build or buy a property. There are some landed property that belong to the government, and if you buy property from such area, you will end up losing such property to government, and there is nothing you can do. So if you involve a lawyer, the lawyer will save you from any future problem by investigating title, investigating to know whether there is any encumbrance that is a higher interest, investigating to know whether where you want to buy land, whether it is a government approved area. So lawyers will be able to do those things for you, and once a lawyer carry out those search, then he will be able to tell you to either go ahead to purchase such property or ask you to discontinue with such plan.
Thank you very much for that beautiful explanations. Viewers, I believe you have all heard it from the horse's mouth, and it is Merlin said that the word is enough for the wise. So, sir, In
Yes.
a brief statement, what is your advice to our listeners out there?
Okay, my advice to those listening to us right now is that please, you do not have to put yourself in, as in a situation that you'll be crying tomorrow. The story of that woman should be able to teach us a very good lesson. It is not good to, like, it is not easy to make money in this society. So making money can be very difficult. So you do not want to lose your money to, as into something that you should have avoided in the first place. So our advice is contact a lawyer whenever you want to buy a property. Contact a lawyer whenever you want to enter into any transaction at all, so that whenever you buy such property, you'll be very, very happy that you did. Some people do not want to spend the money. They just don't want to pay lawyer to do that work for them. But I want to ask you, if you are listening to us, is it not better to pay lawyer a little money to get your work done for you in a very good manner? Or do you prefer to end up like that woman, using over 50 million to buy property, and at the end of the day, she lost everything? I think I would advise you involve a lawyer whenever you want to do anything at all, so that you will know that you are dealing with the right person when like an issue that has to do with you purchasing a property. So that's where I would like to leave it.
Wow, thank you very much. As we have all heard it from the horse's mouth, it is good we involve a lawyer whenever we want to purchase
Yes,
any
very, very
property,
good. Yes.
so that we won't be the victim at the end of the day.
Yes.
So, sir, we thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us,
It's a
for
pleasure.
enlightening us, and I believe the listeners out there, they now know better
Yes.
on the way they should go whenever they want to purchase their property.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Viewers,
You're welcome, sir.
this is where we draw the curtain. We thank you very much for giving us your time, sharing your time with us. I believe that we have all benefited, including myself, we have all benefited one thing or two here and there
I'm
from
glad.
this legal luminary, and we are fully abreast and we are fully loaded
I'm glad
that we now know the right step to go whenever I want to purchase our property. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
it's a pleasure once again.